Good morning, everybody. We're going to loop round again. So my most recent video was on the Scotch game, and I played the Steinitz variation against somebody rated a few hundred points lower. It was a 10-minute rapid, and we ended up in a time scramble, and I was unable to win. And the reason is because my opponent found the one move, really, that pretty much refutes the Steinitz variation. And when I looked up the higher rating levels on the Lichess Players database, the higher you got, the less effective the Steinitz variation was, because your opponents would know how to defuse it. So I came to the tough decision that it's time to abandon the Steinitz. If I want to, thing is, if I want to stay 1400 to 1600, I'll probably be fine, and I'll get some nice middle games and end games with a pawn advantage and do quite well. But if I want to get to 1700, 1800 or above, then it's probably not going to serve me that well. So with that in mind, I thought, well, look, what else can you do against a Scotch game? And here is the Scotch game. So it's e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and then white plays this move. White plays pawn to d4, which is quite threatening. Okay, he's got two attackers on this pawn now, and something must be done. So in the Steinitz variation, we take here, and after they recapture with the knight, you bring your queen out, okay? But then the move knight to b5 at some point, threatening the c7 pawn with a fork on king and rook, just, neutralizes any advantage. Yes, it's tricky, yes, it's funky and whatever, but it's not got legs. So I'm going to remove this move. Okay, so it got me thinking, and I remember that I had at some point in time tried the move f5. I'd looked into the move f5, and here if I look on the Lichess Players database, what have I got this set to? f5 wins 53% for white, 44% for black, and we have got the full spread, the 1600s all the way up to 2500s, okay? f5 is not good, it's like 7th or something most popular move. It's played 0.3% of the time, and it wins 53 for white, 44 for black. Now, I thought, let's go back and have another look. So, here I'm going to share with you all the what I have discovered with the Freddy Krueger Scotch. Okay, so the whole idea with the Freddy Krueger repertoire for black is that we are kind of mimicking the Vienna Gambit that you would play with white. Right, if you white, the Vienna Gambit, knight comes out here, you want to play the pawn to f5, challenging this pawn, and if they take, you push this pawn and hit the knight, and knight ends up having to go back, okay? If you are familiar with my channel, you will be very familiar with the Vienna Gambit. So we're trying to use the same tricks, because we're, lazy, and some of us are, let's say, to put it kindly, getting long in the tooth. We don't want to do too much work and have to learn lots of different openings, so why not try and recycle and reuse the same kind of ideas as black that we might play with white if you're a Vienna player. All right, fair enough. So, pawn to f5. And the fish here goes, no, no, no. This won't do at all. This is terrible. That's a blunder. Plus 2.4 already, it says, for white. But, and I mean, like we say, white wins 53 against 44 from here. However, as with anything, the whole point of the Freddy Krueger repertoire is you don't want to go to sleep, because we're going to be better prepared for you than you. 0.3% of the time. They're going to see this 1 in 300 games. Right, 1 in 300 and something games. They're not really going to know what to do. Now, white does better with the first, second, third, okay, most popular moves. The fourth most popular move, DE, white does worse. Now we're going to look at 6 different replies here from white, and I will take you through what I prepared. And I'm going to do it using the interactive lesson feature on Lichess, okay? So I will read out the comments. Now you can come along to this, you can have this lesson, right? This is for free, this is yours, take it away. Okay, and I'm going to read out the comments, so that I get to fill more of the space with the board. And let's go. So, the computer hates us. Now for white's most common reply. Okay, most common reply is EF. Okay, now the engine here says E takes D4 is best, but that's not Kruger style. What is Kruger style? Right? What is the point of this? What is the point of offering this pawn? We want to deflect, like in a Sicilian way, right? We want to deflect the central pawn off the two central files so that we can occupy the center, but here we get to move forward with tempo. Aha! Right, most common move. So I'm playing the most common moves here for white. Right, and at some point you'll just have to riff. Now, it's tempting to take the knight. We don't want to do that. Unleash horse number 2, it says. Okay. Now they take the knight. Taking with either pawn is okay, and very good for black. Actually, black is doing fine. Black is already doing fine. However, what do we want to do here? Well, we want to get our pawn back, right? And we want to castle. We very often want to long castle in this situation, okay? So, we capture with a D pawn. We vacate this square, which means that this bishop can come out and do that, okay? Bishop C4 is also played as often, but what we do the same thing anyway. We're going to recapture this pawn, yeah? Yeah, because we want a long castle, etc. We take that. Oh no, sorry. If they, there's a note here. If they do play bishop c4 and keep the pin on the knight, right, then you just move your queen forward to one of these two squares and you're fine. Okay. Here again, we are powering towards castling, right? Yes, we could capture with a pawn, but much better, capture with the queen. Getting the queen off the back rank, putting pressure on this pawn, and finally, we're ready to castle, right? This position has been reached 7 times. Black has won 5 of those games, and the engine evaluation is minus 3.5. Black is winning. All right. So let's go to the second option. I click the preview button, and we know what we're doing. We're playing a Scotch game, blah de da da da. Okay, and we're playing the Freddy one. Freddy the F pawn. Okay. Now white will play this 1/3 of the time. So obviously this hangs, and we are going to try and trick the queen into coming out with the check, right? Now, white will play this 57% of the time across the board, but it's actually a mistake. There's only one move here, he played g6. Now, the queen can't come to there with check because the knight was in the way, right? Now, this is a position we should know intimately. We will see this in the Rousseau gambit, we will see this in the Janisch, right? We'll see this a lot. This kind of pattern with the wayward queen coming out to h5, supported by a knight, blah, blah, blah. What you do here is you play your knight out to f6, so that if they go ahead and capture the rook with a discovered check, which looks very nasty indeed, it's not, because we just take it a queen. Now, very tempting here to play rook g8. Do not do that, no. Right, because white is better. H takes g6 actually wins 66% of the time for black. And also bishop b4 check is great as well. Right, but this one actually equalizes for black. Knight takes d4, right? It's a hanging pawn, first of all. Secondly, from that place, we can threaten c2 with a king-rook fork. So what's not to like? Okay? And white really only has one response here. How do they defend this pawn? This is a move you need to know, right? Knight to a3 here is triangulating to come back and do that. Now, here you can just take out the knight. Take out the knight, double isolate pawns, come in here, and you're absolutely fine. But we're fine anyway. Slightly more accurate is this weird move. And you're thinking, hang on, Hunty, have you gone quite mad? Right, c3 then comes up with the fork. And we go, okay, well that doesn't matter. Play your rook to g8. We give up the bishop. And we take the horse. Right, they can't take the pawns, it's defended. Then they might come out with this. These are all the most common moves from white. Okay, right. So double pressure. Okay, so 2 attackers on the knight. It's defended only once. Oh, it's not. It's defended twice. Forgive me. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the knight back here to annoy the bishop, and then we recapture with the queen. Black has an edge. This position has been reached twice. Black has won both times. Right? Happy days. Okay, let's go to the next. Oh no, next move Yeah, queen comes back here, blah, blah, blah. Right, next chapter. Okay, we'll click preview and we're going to play through. I absolutely love this. You know, this beats Chessable hands down, this interactive lesson feature. And F5, the Freddy Krueger Scotch. This is move number 3, third most popular move. White is threatening our knight. Okay, now whenever you've got a piece that's threatened, there are lots of different things you can do. One of those things is to say, you threaten me, I'll threaten you straight back. I'm going to take this pawn, threaten your knight. They've took our knight, we have to take theirs. And now this c takes d7 move, okay? Now we don't want to take with a queen, we don't want to trade queens at this point, so we're going to take with a bishop, okay? And we simply develop the knight here and we play on, and we're okay. This is an absolutely fine position. We've got 2 pieces out on the board. White has a king out on the board, sorry, queen out on the board. We're probably going to develop our bishop, we're going to maybe short castle. We can also use the open d file if we want a long castle. This looks absolutely fine. Right, let's look at another variation on that d5 push. Hit preview. And knight out. And they're going to play d4, and this, and there. So what do we do? They're threatening our knight. Remember, we threaten theirs. I'll have that pawn. Comes with the threat, we take the knight. Okay, now, last time they played c takes d7. Here, they are bringing the queen out, kind of defending the pawn. And the Stockfish slightly prefers d takes c, but actually in the real world, b takes c is more winning. And I kind of like this structure, you know. You've seen this. I get this a lot in Vienna games as white. So this is most common move. Actually, queen to h5 check here equalizes for white, but they will most often do this because they're thinking about castling, etc. Okay, and here you see queen h5 check comes with the fork on the e-pawn as well, because you probably have to block with the pawn. They come across here. Then you'll probably block with the knight to defend the rook, stuff like that. Anyway, so deal with that if it happens. This is the more common move, but this is actually a blunder, right? Simply because it gives us time to do this, okay? Which means the queen can't come in. So they come down and pin the knight, doesn't matter. We'll hit d5, yeah? Knock the bishop back, and now, nice multi-purpose move. Bishop to e7. What's multi-purpose? Well, it adds a third defender to this knight, right? It develops a piece, and it prepares to castle. And it breaks the pin on the knight as well. And then we just castle. Happy days. Okay, we're all good. So this is looking all playable. Right, let's look at another one. Hit preview. It'd be nice if you could stay in preview mode, Lichess devs, by the way, rather than having to do it entirely. I'd love to just be able to go, okay, take me through the lesson in this, and it will teach you. Okay. So, what do we play? e5. We're Freddy Krueger players. Okay, here we go. All right, now they've taken the pawn. Okay, white has just blown his advantage. All right, black is already equal. It says make the obvious capture, and it ain't that because we lose a knight. The obvious capture is this: hit the knight with tempo, tempo, tempo. Free stuff. Don't mind if I do. And now the queen comes out. Right now, this looks scary. Oh no, we're in check. Oh no, my knight is forked. But in actual fact, you can resolve both issues in one and defend the e5 square by bringing the knight to one of these squares, and we prefer g6. Oh no, white isn't having a good day. We can just calmly develop with tempo. Okay, now what is the tempo? And it ain't this. Why not? Because attacker 1, attacker 2, only one defender. The tempo is this, guys. Boom. Okay? And that bishop can do one as well. Oi, bishop, do one, right? And the horse, go on, off you trot, it says. Think you're safe there, donkey. Think again. Ha! Oh, go on then. I think they're thirsty boys. Name the film. Damn. Uh-oh. And you might be thinking, well, hang on. He can get out of that. Bishop a4, check. But then b5. Yeah? And white is going to have to lose a piece. So they might take here, they might take here, they might take here. You'll see those moves. Doesn't matter. Whichever way they go, you're doing fine. And again, let's look at another response. Let's hit the preview button again, because we never get bored of that. Da-da-da-da, Scotch game, whatever. This is great. You can, like, almost whatever they play here, you can just play this. Now, knight to c3. Knight to c3. It's not the most common, but you're going to see it. A lot of people play this. And we very often get this structure, you know, in the Rousseau Gambit and the Janisch and other stuff as well. You know, we quite often get d4, e4, e5, f5. Normal capture, take, hit the knight, occupy the centre with tempo, bang. Knight retreat, push again with tempo. This isn't hard to remember. Okay, in comes the knight, bit of horse trading. Okay, and look at our nice centre, right? Complete the chain, off we go. Bishop comes out, pin the horse, very, very common move. They've now moved their bishop a second time, and we prepare to castle. We can't put our knight here. Okay, so bang. Now, it's funny enough, now this position has really, I think this has only been played once, and they pushed a3, I think. This is actually the best engine move, but this has never been seen. So you can just kind of trade bishops and just play on. We're ready to castle. We're ahead in development. We've got this nice pawn chain, and notice that white only has a light square bishop, and it can't go there, and it can't go there, and it can't go there, right? So we'll probably just, you know, castle. But before we do that, let's move the knight here and attack this. Maybe, develop queen with a fork. Let's do this. There's an undefended pawn. There was another one. Forced them to castle. Advance the cavalry. And, you know, this is all good. This is all good. So from here, you could play check there, but the king's going to come forward. You can drop the queen back, I guess. What is the move? It says don't flinch, the pawn can't capture. Can I go here? Nope. Do I castle? Yes, just castle. It's fine. Right, position is totally equal here. You can just play on. Okay, so knight c3, decent move for white. We may find a better line than that, but we'll see. And the final chapter. What else are we going to find? What else might you see out in the wild? Okay, the Scotch. You weren't expecting Freddy Krueger to turn up. And this is bonkers, actually. It looks like this is the move that is most commonly played at the master level, but it's a blunder. Okay, I can't figure that one out. This is using the chess.com Explorer. Okay, so what's the obvious move? Take the pawn, threaten the knight. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, capture the knight. Kick the bishop away. I spy a fork. Do you spy a fork, boys and girls? Pause if you need. Can we see a fork? Yeah. Queen a5 check. Right? Knight blocks. We can just grab the pawn, I guess. There you go. Black is actually in a winning position here. Now here we can play knight f6, it's fine. But let's block out the bishop. Okay? This bishop is now stuck. Can't go on any of these squares. Let's put them in red for good measure. Right? This bishop is now stuck here for the duration of the game. We can just develop the knight and crack on. Develop with check. Bang. Why not? And castle, and we're all good. Okay? So, we've completed the lesson. The Freddy anti-Scotch is playable, it seems. So I'm going to look forward to having a few games at this. Let us, while we are here, hit the Explorer. I'm just going to see in my games with black, how many times have I actually seen this and what's actually happened in the real world. Okay, so we'll play it through. This is where it makes sense to play all your games on one platform. Okay, so we get the Scotch. Now, after e takes d4, I've got a 49% for white against 46% for black win rate. Okay, which is okay. They'll probably take back. f5 I've played 5 times, I've lost 4 of them. Interesting. Huh. But from this position, bishop c4 is the most common move. Okay, so what I'm guessing, this is actually some kind of transposition, isn't it? Anyway, and then we take. Okay, so not much data to go on, but the point is, if you're a Freddy Krueger addict, like me, then yeah, I think there's legs in this. So let me know what you think. If you find any other lines, please let me know. Yeah, I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. See you soon.